falling up, I'm falling down from the sky and from the ground. Up above, just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and for today I thought it would be cool to check out an old weapon that's been rotting in my inventory for a while now. It's the Gram, and unlike what its name would suggest, this is actually a heavy blade weapon. And now before we move on, if you're already way past Mastery Rank 5, then this video is probably not for you. The Gram is a weapon you can attain really early on in the game, since it is available at the market once you hit MR2. So for the most part, I'll be keeping focus on a beginner's point of view. But in the mods later on, there are some insights that you may be interested in even as an advanced or veteran player. So in that case, you might want to stick around till the end. Moving on to aesthetics, the Gram has a great sword form, which I think looks absolutely awesome. I'm a sucker for really big epic swords, so a while back when I first saw this, I just had to get it. Was it worth it though? Well, we'll discuss that later in the power and speed test as usual, but for now I personally think it's a beautiful weapon. The two light bars you see on both edges of the Gram can be easily customized by changing the energy color. This thing would easily go with any color theme and will look great too. And damn, check out these skins, they are absolutely... Well, I'm just getting some Dark Souls vibes right now. I really miss that game. So while I go have a moment for myself, here are the current available skins you can get for the Gram. Keep in mind that they are all Tenogen and not available for Plat. Time for stats, another slashing weapon, and this one deals pretty high damage from the get-go. A total of 100 damage with 70% of it being slash. Block resistance of 85% I think is great, as you can run around screwing enemies with a little more protection. Wow, that sounded odd, but anyway. Good crit and status chances of 15% each with a crit multiplier of 2x. So all is good. The Gram also has an attack speed of 0.95, which is higher than something like an Orthos, but in reality, this thing is anything but quick in its vanilla form. As you can see here, compared side to side with an Orthos, the polearm is actually faster, even with a lower attack speed of 0.917. Not a huge difference in terms of raw numbers, but the Gram definitely feels significantly slower. So you can't really compare these two weapons directly from a stats perspective, because one is a polearm and the other is a heavy blade, but you can judge them based on their respective stats. To put them against each other though, that's what the power and speed tests are for. The Gram manages to knock out a level 30 Nox in an average time of 30.27 seconds, faster than the Nakana simply due to sheer damage. 100 compared to 45, so the results here are not that impressive. In the speed test, however, the Gram actually did better than I expected, taking an average of 13.32 seconds to finish off 4 level 50 Elite Lancers. As you can see here that it is actually slower than an Orthos, but much faster than a Broken War. The Broken War's downfall in this test is really due to its crit multiplier of 1.5x and a slightly lower damage, albeit still high at a total of 90 in base form. So now for the complicated stuff, mods. Like I said back at the beginning, I'm going to keep my scope on beginners first, and then later I'll give my take on a build for those of you peeps with plenty of mods and credits and endos and rivens. Alright, so let's say you just reached Mastery Rank 2 and built this thing, but you don't have a catalyst or only have one and don't wish to invest it on the gram. How do you make this thing work? Well, I tried going for a crit build with the limited capacity I had, but it was really crappy. I highly suggest you stick on a couple of elementals or status based mods and just fill out the other 2 slots with Pressure Point and Fury. Simple and bland, but for a beginner this is okay. But, and this is a big but, if you wanna make things a little more interesting, then consider doing what I call a channeling build. Now this is kinda temporary because with Melee 3.0 coming soon, we'll lose channeling altogether. Keep that in mind. Simply stick on Killing Blow and Corrupt Charge as well as either Buzzkill or Jagged Edge and go do some channeling kills. This build actually made the gram a little more fun to play with without investing any potatoes, but I highly suggest you use the gram as more of a supportive weapon in this form because you'll deal hard hits but not so much of them. If you want to go full melee, then any maps with low level Grineer or infested enemies should be fine. Don't go hitting corpus robots. Please, this thing isn't built to deal with armor. Also for stance, once again, ideally you try everything out and see what works best for you. I've only tried Cleaving Whirlwind, which at first felt kind of clumsy, but then I got used to the combos and actually had fun taking down higher level enemies on Europa, even with the capacity limited channeling build. I haven't had time to try it, but based on what I've seen, I think Rending Crane would work even better with this weapon. Alrighty, now let's assume you're not a beginner and are well into the game and have tons of unused rivens and credits and have no idea what to do. Then I say go ahead and build this thing all the way, especially if you love great sword style weapons and them skins for this thing. Blood Rush, Berserker, Body Count. These will work but will take a little longer to get going due to the slow nature of the gram. But with the Maxed Fury or Primed Fury, once you build up the combo and those crits, as you can see here, Iron Boy is going nuts with this thing. Personally, I think the gram won't ever work well with a status build because it won't get up to speed quickly enough to deal the amount of stats you need to do serious damage, even with a maxed Primed Fury. Also, if you want to squeeze a rivet in here, then go ahead. The gram has a strong disposition, and if you have a few spare rivets in your inventory, then who knows? You might get something that could really take this thing to the next level. In conclusion, I think a lot of players forget about having fun in the game and instead just build the one weapon that does the most damage. Everyone's like, I need more damage. It's great to fool around sometimes and discover what you can do with weapons like the gram. Granted, it's definitely not the absolute best thing in the game. I mean, if you're new and only interested in results, then avoid the gram or sell it and go get an Orthos, which will last you long enough until you can get your hands on bigger, better things. With that said, I actually need to get going on a review for Revenant and his toys like the Phantasma, cause that's what the people are on about these days. That's all for this video. If you found it helpful or even cool, then hit like and get subbed, baby. Remember to tap the bell icon because that's how YouTube works these days. Tons of super awesome content over on the Instagram page, links down in the description. See ya guys in the next video.